Hello YouTubers, I wanted to do an update video for you guys, more to say thanks than anything else for all of your kind messages and offers for chats. I really do appreciate all of that. You know, as far as my last video is concerned, I think I have got a lot better since then, but I just wanted to say a huge thank you to you guys just for all the kindness that you've shown me, so thank you very much. Two other things I'm going to be talking about in this video. First up is the Kodak PlaySport ZX5. Now, Andy made me aware that there's a new firmware update on the Kodak website. I'll put a link to Andy's YouTube channel somewhere on the screen. Basically, they said to me that they were having problems with the freezing and the memory cards, and that they've done the firmware update and it seems to have fixed it. So, you know, that's all good. Like that, thank you very much. I would say that if you have that problem, then go do the firmware update. If it doesn't make any difference, contact Kodak and they will hopefully sort you out in some other way. Now, another thing that you guys have been saying to me is what's my favourite Pocket HD camera that I use. At the moment, it is the Kodak PlayTouch. I use it a lot. I use it for most of my videos. Any kind of review videos that I do, any kind of vlogging videos that I do, I use the PlayTouch all the time. One thing I would say, if you're going to get a PlayTouch, you need to get an external mic, because the onboard audio on it isn't that great. And you have to sort of put the volume right up, and when you do that, there's a sort of a little bit of background noise. The quality of the audio is vastly improved when you get an external mic with it, so I would recommend that that's what you do. Second favouriteist is the Kodak PlaySport ZX5. I use it for most of my outdoor videos when I go outside, and I really do like it. The fact that it's got quite a lot of the stuff that the PlayTouch has got, I really do like that. So they're my two favourites, the Kodak PlayTouch and the Kodak PlaySport ZX5. Okay, next up, mobile phones. Now, as you guys know, I have the Sony Ericsson X10 Mini Pro. I also have the Nokia C3. The Sony Ericsson is a really great phone. I really like the QWERTY keyboard on it, and I absolutely love the VGA video on it. I think the VGA video is the best that I've seen since the LG Beauty, and it was the main reason why I bought it, to be honest, because I wanted to have good VGA recording ability in my phone just in case I didn't have any of my cameras on me, and it was sort of like a backup camera, and the Sony Ericsson fit the bill. The only problem with it is the battery life. You can't really get a lot of recording compared to other phones that I've had, and the battery seems to go down quite quickly. If I didn't use the phone at all, except for texting and phone calls, I would probably get about 4 or 5 days out of it at most. But as soon as you start video recording and all that sort of stuff, it uses up the battery life, and it just wasn't good enough for me. So I went back to using the Nokia C3. Now obviously the Nokia C3's got better battery life, but the video is rubbish. And I wanted to go back to the Android firmware because I was really missing it. I really do like the Android firmware. So what I decided to do was sell some things to see if I could get a better Android phone. Now unfortunately the stuff that I sold didn't quite get me enough money to get one of the higher end phones. What I would have liked is something like the new Sony Ericsson Arc, or the new Sony Ericsson Mini Pro isn't out quite yet. I would have liked to have got one of them when it comes out. Also the HTC Desire looks like a really nice phone, or the Nokia N8, or the Samsung Galaxy S. All of those phones seem to have really good video, but some of them have questionable battery life. But unfortunately I didn't have the money to do it. So I got talking to my brother, and he's got HTC Wildfire. So I looked at the Wildfire and the Wildfire S. The Wildfire S has better video, but the Wildfire has better battery life. You know, I didn't quite have the budget for the Wildfire S anyway, so I decided to go for the Wildfire. And here it is. Oh yes. I've got quite a good deal on it. I really like the Android software, like I've said. The only problem with these Android phones is that it seems that when you have the display on, it goes through battery life like crazy. When I first turned this on this morning, it had 68% battery life, and now it's gone down to 67. And I've only done about 3 of these videos, and this is like the 3rd take, so it's eating through battery life again. But it's better than the Sony Ericsson. I don't think it's quite as good as the ZTE Blade that I had. I think the video is better than the ZTE Blade, but unfortunately that's one of the things that lets it down, is the video. I thought that looking on YouTube the video looked passable, it looked quite good, but since having this phone and trying it out, the video hasn't really been as good, and the LG camera app doesn't work very well with this, which is a shame. I am going to do some more video tests, see if I can get a better quality out of it, but I don't understand why these companies don't put better video on. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, OK, like Flip said that they're not going to do their cameras anymore because mobile phones had better cameras on them. Yeah, the higher end mobile phones. If you can afford £40 a month on a contract and you go out and buy an iPhone 4, a Nokia N8 or any of the other phones that I mentioned, then yeah, the video is better on them. But if you can only afford a phone like this, then the video ain't better. So I don't know why Cisco stopped the flip cameras, because I still think that there's a market for them. So I don't understand why. I mean, this is meant to have a 5 megapixel camera on it, and it does SIF recording, but the quality is just not that good. I've only taken a few stills with it and it isn't really that good. I mean, my LG Secret does better video and better stills than this does, and that is just a bog standard phone. So I don't understand why they don't put a little bit more effort in their cameras on these phones. But having said that, I do think it's a nice phone. I am really enjoying using it, and I can see why my brother likes it as well. So yes, I mean, I have entered quite a few competitions to see if I could win one of the higher end phones. I did think about selling all my phones and maybe 1 or 2 of my cameras to see if I could get the money together to be able to afford to get something like the HTC Desire, but unfortunately I did the maths and I couldn't quite afford it. So what I've decided is I'm going to stick to what I've got. Maybe I might win a competition and get a phone that way, or if anyone out there wants to give me one for nothing, then that'd be great. But you know, you can live in hope, can't you? So there you go. I mean, one of my biggest gripes about the Sony Ericsson is the fact that they haven't updated it. It's still on 2.1 firmware. They've updated the X10, I think they might have updated the X8 as well, but they haven't bothered with the Mini and the Mini Pro. And it really does look like they've held off so that people will buy the newer versions, which leaves the people that have got the older versions, you know, up the wazoo, which I think is a bit rough, really. It would be nice if they brought out the 2.2 firmware for the X10 Mini Pro, because I think it could improve the battery life, and if it did, then I'd go back to using that. But you know, I don't know why these companies do these things. It's all silly to me. Okay, that's enough of my dribbling. Thanks again for all of your messages. You know, I can't stress enough how much they've helped. I really do appreciate it. Okay, that's enough from me. Hope you're having a good weekend, and I'll do some more later on. Okay, bye bye for now.